Follow the people who really know what they're doing. That's all I do. Ray said to me, "Have you ever seen me broke?" I said, "No." He said, "Did you ever see me sick?" I never had. He said, "Do you think I'm a happy guy?" I said, "Yeah." Well, he said, "You know, you got to be one of the most miserable people I've ever met, Bob." And he said, "You're always broke." Yet he said, "You're always sick." He said, "Your way's not working. Why don't you try mine?"
Your mind can conceive and believe your mind can achieve.
I have seen so many changes take place in people's lives. If you go over it often enough, you'll be just as convinced as I am.
I'll never forget it. It started on a Friday night, and I go in the seminar room and I sit down, and out walks on stage Bob Proctor. I didn't even know who he was, but the minute he started talking, it was like someone took my head off, shook it around, and put it back on, and everything I thought was true was just like upside down.
I met Bob 9 years ago. I was really at the bottom. I was $150,000 in debt, and he said, "If you'll do exactly what I tell you to do, everything will change."
So I remember when I first started being mentored by Bob, he's like, "You got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone, or if not, you're going to continue to stay stuck."
Mikey Seller here was a nanny, no business experience when she came to work with our company. She's the chief operating officer of our company today. And it's by studying this material.
Any of the people that work in our company, you're going to find out they are genuinely nice people. This is not a common or a normal environment. You've got people that have come from all different walks of life. They've come from various different parts of the world, and they've all come for the same reason. There's something in here that's attracting them. There's something they're in harmony with. There's something they want to get.
Spirit is for expansion and fuller expression. We always want to expand in a bigger way. We want to introduce ourselves to a part of ourselves we never even knew was there.
You got to take massive action. If you guys are going to create what you're capable of creating, you have got to go out and do. Like Emerson says, do the thing will give you power.
You see, when you work at this kind of a business, as many years as I've worked at it, you see a lot of different things. Follow the people who really know what they're doing. That's all I do. This is those crazy dreams. It's a level of vibration. It's called a frequency. Like a plant, anything has an energy. Everything moves, nothing rests. Everything's energy. Well, you're a mass of living energy, a very high speed of vibration. There's an infinite number of frequencies. You're dealing with infinite. No beginning, no end. What happened? How come you got so good at helping other people?
Where you said the key to earning money and being successful was just leave everybody better off than you found them.
You're here, you want to go here. You make the decision, and it's a committed decision. You're automatically on that higher level of frequency. You're in tune now with the thoughts, with the ideas, with the resources, the people that can help you get what you want.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 5 of Millionaire Frequency. I'm the Chief Operating Officer and Director of Marketing for the Proctor Gallagher Institute, your host for this week. As we wrap the week up, we are at 5. I hope you are feeling that millionaire frequency, and we have an incredible call planned for you as we wrap this event up. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to play a 34-minute video from Sandy Gallagher on Visioneering. We're going to absolutely love it, and you probably haven't heard it. So get a pen and a piece of paper. You're going to want to take notes. It's going to be a great lesson for you to end this week on. Then Raj Vasugi and I are going to meet you on the other side for about 30 minutes of Q&A. Now, if you've joined us for this entire week, you know exactly how valuable 30 minutes of Q&A with Raj is. But if you're just joining us for the first time today, you are in for a real treat, and I want to give Raj a proper introduction. So Raj works side by side with Bob Procter for almost 14 years. He is Bob's personally trained top coach and our senior vice president for Gallagher Institute. He works with thousands of our clients every single month to help them get the results that they want in their life and Millionaire Frequency. So you could not be in better hands for today's Q&A than with Raj himself. Now, there was a thread in this group asking for questions. I have those on my phone already. So what I want you to do is, if you have a question from this point forward, I want you to put it in the comments of this live feed and tag your success advisor. My team is going to be sending me those questions. We will get through as many as we can. I can assure you we are not going to get to all of them. So I want you to tag your success advisor. Is if we don't get to your question live, they can follow up with you and make sure that you have all of your questions answered as we wrap up this event. And you can make sure that you get the most out of this event. Now, without further ado, we're going to hand this over to Sandy Gallagher for a 34-minute lesson on Visioneering. Raj and I will meet you on the other side.
Visioneering. I absolutely love this. I love this. I can't even emphasize it enough. This is so powerful. This book here is Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Behrend. Bob mentioned Genevieve Behrend. Like, his Think and Grow Rich is falling apart. My book is falling apart because I have read this thousands and thousands of times. If you haven't read this book, I encourage you to get it. But right at the beginning of the book, she's got these 7 paragraphs on the order of visualization. And she wrote this after she studied with Thomas Troward. And she used the principles in here to raise $20,000 to go study with him. He'd never had a private pupil. So she was not guaranteed she's going to be able to study with him. In fact, it was very unlikely. But she set it in her mind. Now, $20,000 in 1910, when she started to raise the money, is about $683,000 today. Now, I want you to think about that. Would you invest $683,000 to study with Bob Procter, for example? You know, when he said to me at that lunch, it's going to cost you $500,000, and you're going to run the company, you're going to pay for all the production costs, you're going to do this. And I agreed. I nodded my head. And, you know, I often ask myself, if that company hadn't succeeded, even if we never created the program, would I have made the same decision and been glad of it? And I absolutely would, because of the awareness. No one can take the awareness away that you gain from it, you know? And so she used these principles, and she got that money, and she went and she studied with Thomas Troward for 2 years. This is really powerful, and I want you to put on your thinking caps and really, really think about what she says here. The exercise of the visualizing faculty attracts to you what you need to make life more enjoyable and in an orderly way. So it keeps your mind in order. What's the visualizing faculty? What? The imagination. So what does she mean, the exercise of your imagination? Why do we have to exercise our imagination? To strengthen it. And why do we have to strengthen it? What happens with our imagination if we don't practice holding something on the screen of our mind? It uses us, doesn't it? Yeah. And we start getting these pictures in our mind of what we don't want. So you got to exercise it. Just like a workout routine, like if you're going to go run a marathon or something, you have to have a plan. And so this is why you should do this every single day. I do it first thing in the morning and then last thing right before I fall asleep. And so you exercise your imagination, and then you've got order in your mind. Why do we need order in our mind? Have you come up with your goal, your big goal? You've got it. Okay, so when you think about that big goal, like everybody do this right now. I want you to think about what it is that you really want. Just go inside right now and think about what you want. And I want you to imagine a situation that can only happen after this has come true for you. This is physically manifested. So I want you to now just visualize that in your mind. Something's happening. Like with Thinking into Results, the program, I visualized all the time emails I'd get, how it changed people's lives, meeting people in seminars. What's your scenario? I want you to picture it. Now, how many of you are holding that picture bright and clear on your mind and nothing else is popping in? Just a couple. Because what happens is we aren't accustomed to having one picture on the screen of our mind. All kinds of pictures pop into our mind. And some of them are what we want, and some of them are not what we want. And we're creating all of that. So we want to use our imagination, see what we want, and have perfect order in our mind because that's what we're creating. That's why focus is so incredibly important. And if we do this, what happens? It attracts to us everything we need to make our life more enjoyable and in an orderly way. Like Julie, when you think about what you want, are you going for something really big right now? Do you know how to do it? Does that scare you and excite you at the same time?
Yeah, I'm more on the excited side now.
Good. So if you just build that picture in your mind and you hold it there, you're using your imagination and your will, it attracts to you what you need to make your life more enjoyable and in an orderly way. Everything you need. Now, what you want and what I want are going to be completely different, but it works the same for us. It attracts exactly what we need. Are you going for something big, William?
Yes.
And do you know how to do it? Mm-hmm. So how does it make you feel? Have you stretched this weekend at the seminar?
Yes.
So when you think about it, do you kind of hit the terror barrier?
Yeah.
So do you do the visioneering? So do you see how powerful this is? So you're exercising your imagination. In other words, you're getting control over your imagination. You're directing your imagination instead of your imagination directing you. And you've got this beautiful order in your mind. Now, just think about order versus chaos. Like think about your automobile. If you've got your car and you've let it get really dirty outside and you've got a bunch of junk on the inside, it feels like it doesn't run very well, doesn't it? And then you wash it, and it's sparkly, shiny, clean. It's perfectly clean inside. It feels like it runs better. That's the way we are. And when we have chaos in our mind, you can see it just by watching somebody. Like, you see how they walk, and they're kind of all over the place. You got order in your mind. You're just walking like this. You know where you're going. You know what you do. You can spot a person a mile away that has order in their mind. But it takes you being disciplined and exercising your imagination, getting control over your imagination. Then you have that beautiful, you have to try. Well, you have to do more than try, right? You have to just do this. And when I first started doing this, I didn't get a clear picture. In fact, a lot of times it was a blank screen. But you keep working through it and you keep building the picture. Because look at this. Goes on to say, if you train yourself in the practice of deliberately picturing your desire and carefully examine the picture, You'll soon find that your thoughts and desires proceed in a more orderly procession than ever before. What's the most important word in here? If. Why? Because most people won't even do this. I mean, we're talking exercise, we're talking training, we're talking discipline, we're talking getting control over this, working at it. But if you train yourself in the practice, deliberately picture your desire. Have you got clear on how much money you want to earn now?
I haven't thought about the money. I just thought about the job.
The job? What kind of job?
I want to be a TV host.
TV host? Okay. So can you picture that? Now, look at what this says. Practice of deliberately picturing your desire. So you want to be a TV host. Now, carefully examine the picture. What does that look like? Like, do you want to be in Iceland on TV?
I want to be
The Tonight Show host. Okay, so that's getting clearer. Now, build that picture. Carefully examine the picture. Is this what kind of hours do you want? What kind of stuff do you want to talk about? You know, what's the most important part of it for you? We got to get super clear on this. You create the picture, but then expand on it. What does it really mean? Like, I talked about the house I got on Whidbey Island, right next to Cynthia and Blaine. And I talked about that. But when I initially got into a home, I was in Malibu, California. And I was thinking, oh, how romantic it would be to live on the ocean, you know. So I ended up getting this condo. And I'm vertically challenged, but I could barely stand up in it. And the furniture was teeny tiny. And I'm right on the water's washing up under the condo. And it is so loud. And it's banging against the windows. And I had to wash the windows 3 or 4 times a day because they got so dirty. And I'm like, okay, I deliberately pictured my desire, but I didn't carefully examine the picture. And so then I moved to a place in the canyon, Encinal Canyon in Malibu. And I'm up with the rattlesnakes and the coyotes. And, you know, you got to really be careful to examine it and see, is this what I want? And we can't just say, I want more money. Or we can't just say, even, I want to manage, was it high-end properties? I want to manage it. What is a high-end property to you? How many do you want to manage? Where do you want these homes to be located? What kind of clients do you want to work with? You know, we got to build that picture. And then your thoughts and desires will proceed in a more orderly procession than ever before. What does that mean? Your thoughts, what's going on in your conscious mind? And then your desires, what's the difference between your thoughts and desires? The desires are in the emotional part of your personality. You have impressed it on the emotional part of your personality, on your subconscious mind, so much that it's just bubbling inside you, and it has to be expressed. But what is the it? We got to get super clear on that. Corey and I wanted to go to Bali. I thought going to Bali would be just really amazing. And so Corey Proctor, where is she? Hi, Corey. Do you remember this? And I convinced Corey to go with me. And I said, we should do a cleanse when we're here in Bali, you know. And so she's like, okay, well, that's a good idea. And I'm thinking fresh vegetables and, you know, juicing and just like, I mean, laying by the beach and just like really, really great experience. Well, we get there and find out we're not going to eat for 10 days. 10 days. And not clear. I had a vague concept of what I wanted, but I didn't really build the picture. And we starved. And we had to drink psyllium husk, what was it? Psyllium husk and water? Yeah, every day. And then we would starve all day. And then the first day they were I smelled this great smell in the kitchen, and they were cooking all these vegetables and things. Well, when it came to dinner time, I'm thinking, well, at least we're going to have a nice vegetable soup. Oh, no, they left the vegetables in the pot. We got the broth. I mean, you got to really think. And if you get clear on what you want, remember the subconscious mind, it can't change the order. Whatever you give it, it can't tell the truth. If it's truth, it can't tell the difference. Is it real or is it imagined? Now, most people never understand this, and so we give our subconscious mind all kinds of untruths that we don't want to create, but we're creating. But if we use that with understanding, just imagine what you can create. And the thoughts and desires proceed. The thoughts are in the conscious mind. Think of the stick person. Desires are in the subconscious mind. Changes the vibration in the body and determines the results. What does the law of attraction respond to? To what's in the subconscious mind. So basically what you're doing with visioneering is you're taking the image of what you want and you are turning it into your paradigm. And that's what the law of attraction is responding to. That's what you're attracting back. It's extremely powerful. Now, can you do this? When you were imagining a scenario that could only happen after what you want is here, could you really hold that on the screen of your mind and build a big, beautiful picture? And did you feel your vibration shift at all? You want to do this over and over and over until you feel it shift. I mean, really feel it shift. Because then you know that you're moving it into form, okay? Now look, having reached a state of ordered mentality, you're no longer in a constant state of mental hurry. Hurry is fear and consequently destructive. How many times are we in a state of mental hurry? Yeah, all the time. Like, you might even be in it right now here in this room. Just, it's like internally your legs are moving, your arms are moving. If you feel that probably means you're hitting the terror bear and it probably means you're on the right track. But it doesn't feel so great, right? So visualizing, if you just go back and you hold that picture, this is a perfect time to do it. If you're feeling that, get that picture on the screen of your mind and impress it on your subconscious mind. Really allow yourself to feel it. Why? Because you understand that whatever you're holding there and impressing on your subconscious mind has to move into form. And what did we say about gratitude? We said to feel is grateful now for something that's not physically manifested. Because you understand you've got it spiritually, you've got it intellectually, you just need to get it physically. And you know it's coming. So why not feel the gratitude now? Why not? And you think of faith and fear, they both require you to believe in something you cannot see. Why not choose faith? We automatically choose fear. But mental hurry is fear and it's destructive. And if you don't do something, gratitude, visioneering, if you don't do these things, affirmations, then you are moving yourself away from the good you desire. I remember having an affirmation when I came back from Delray Beach, Florida, and I had this affirmation. I would say it maybe 100 times a day. I'm so happy and grateful now that we're helping millions of people worldwide connect to their higher side and lead more productive, fulfilling, and enriching lives. And I would say it over and over and over till I felt it. Why? Because the paradigm was battling so hard. And everyone in my environment, why are you wasting your time? Are you crazy? What are you thinking? What about your 401k plan? What about your profit share? You're never going to get clients like this again. How could you do this? And so on. You have to shut it out with that picture. I love how Neville says this. And this is extremely powerful. The moment your belief matches with any state, you fuse with it. What does that mean? You fuse with it. And this union results in the activation and projection of its plots, plans, conditions, and circumstances. That's what we're talking about with visioneering. You hold that picture, when you impress it on the subconscious mind over and over, subconscious mind has to accept it. So your belief is matching with a state. You fuse with it. And that's when you start to figure out the how. So we don't have to figure out the how now. We don't have to know it before we figure out what we want. Because once we make the decision, Bob did the decision slide with the frequencies, and you're here, and here's the goal you're going after. And it's so easy to say, well, I'll decide when. Or like Mark, I'll leave my job in a year. A year's an eternity. You decide now. I had one person tell me they would do what they wanted to do when their cat died. And I said, well, how old's your cat? 3. I'm like, this is a problem. But you got to make that decision. What happens when you make the decision? This is what Neville's saying here. You're here, you want to go here. You make the decision, and it's a committed decision, boom. you're automatically on that higher level of frequency. So what are you doing? You're in tune now with the thoughts, with the ideas, with the resources, the people that can help you get what you want. But it's so hard to get to that point where you make the committed decision before you know the how. But when you understand this, it's not so hard. And you nod your head yes and say, yes, we do have a deal. And you proceed to do it. Make sense? Now look, this new state of conscious awareness becomes your home from which you view the world. Whoop. It's your workshop. And if you're observant, you'll see the outer reality shaping itself upon the model of your imagination. I see a couple people taking pictures. You should all take a picture of that. This is so powerful. Take your pictures. There we go. Okay, it's your workshop. This is your workshop. This is where you're living mentally. That's what visioneering is. You go to this place as often as you can mentally. And you don't just sit there and reason with it. Because remember, what did we say about just reasoning with the idea? If we're not impressing it on our subconscious mind, we're not getting emotionally involved, what happens? Nada. Nada, right? We have to get emotionally involved with it, and then that's our workshop. And then you look around and you're like, oh my gosh, this is how my world is shaping. I'm creating this in my physical world. And then we get to the point where we're not even surprised because we know how to do it. Make sense? I love this. In other words, when your understanding grasps the power to visualize your heart's desire and hold it with your will, it attracts to you all things requisite to the fulfillment of that picture by the harmonious vibration of the law of attraction. I mean, that just seems like music to me. When I read that and study that, it's so beautiful. What is your heart's desire? See, when we get in touch with our heart's desire, I talked about when I discovered that it was my purpose to work with Bob and to do this work, and it's like this urge inside of you. And I had no idea how to do it. It scared me to death because I'm like, how could I do that? Look at how amazing he is. How could I ever do that? But you know what? It's what I wanted. It's a heart's desire. Your heart's desire can tell you so much more than your intellectual faculties. It's so much beyond what we can logically understand. So my mantra for the first few years after I went to that seminar was do the illogical. As a lawyer, do the illogical. It seemed like a crazy mantra, but the paradigm dictates your logic. And so I'm like, do the illogical. And your heart will tell you what it is that you really want, why you're here. And when you latch on to that, and you hold it with your will, it attracts to you all things requisite. Everything you need is attracted to you by the harmonious vibration of the law of attraction. So when I was looking at that home on Whidbey Island, and I loved the home, and part of me, my heart's desire was to have that home, but my reasoning mind was like, that is just ridiculous to spend that kind of money on a house. And of course, Bob's like, well, if you believe what we teach, you're going to do this. And I sent a Christmas invitation to my family for Christmas dinner before I even had a contract on the house. I mean, how ridiculous. But there it is. Look at that. So just imagine, Cynthia, remember seeing this with me? Cynthia went with me when we looked at it the first time. But this is the view, the snow-capped mountains, the view, the water. I walked down on the lawn. I looked out at the water, and I'm like, oh, this is just so beautiful. That's the carriage house, guest house. I mean, it's just, I could see myself living there. And Bob's telling me, go in every room. And he's telling me, go to the realtors and just tell them, leave me with the house. I need to be with the house. And I'm like, this is really cuckoo. But what was he doing? He was trying to tell me, you've got to really get in touch with your heart's desire and understand that you will attract the way to do this. And so I did. I went in every room. I went and I sat down on the lower patio there, looked out at the water. I came back later, I looked at it again. And then the realtors were genius. They had a color picture book, glossy color picture book with pictures of every room in the house. And it was beautiful. And I had that book with me all the time, just looking at it, using my imagination in high gear, you know? And I watched the virtual tour. I'd imagine taking the labs and running them on the beach, you know? And what was I doing? I was living there. It was my workshop. It was a place from which I viewed the world. And so then what happened? The plots, plans, and projections came to me. And I mean, crazy things happened. Like, I had totally forgotten I had a whole bunch of stock certificates from banks. You know, I was a banking attorney, and I would take companies public, and I would help them raise capital, form banks. And I would get stock in the deal, and I would just shove them away because they didn't have any value at that point. I forgot about them. So I found all these stock certificates. And I started calling the CFOs of all the different banks, and is this worth anything? Oh, yeah, $50,000. Well, do you have a buyer? Oh, great, you know. And I'm selling all these stock certificates and getting money. Now, at this point, I had an offer, signed offer, an agreement to buy this place. And I gave myself until about, I think it was 2 weeks before Christmas to close. So it gave me a little over 3 months to close. And I had to put a lot of money down. It seemed like a lot to me at the time. And I didn't have that sitting in my account. And I didn't know how I was going to do this. Well, because of doing exactly what I'm talking about, all these ideas kept coming to me. And I closed early, and I had more money down than I needed to close. But if you had asked me to do that back in 2006, before I had gone to that seminar, no way, not going to happen. But when you understand this, you do it. Wow, we still have the house up there. Aren't they pretty? I know. I love it. But when we really understand this, in other words, when your understanding grasps the power to visualize your heart's desire, not my understanding, not Bob's, when your understanding really grasps it, like at a deep, deep level, you latch on to your heart's desire. It doesn't matter what anybody else wants for you. What do you want? What do you really want? And you latch on to that and you hold it with your will. So it's on the screen of your mind. That's where you're living. You impress it on your subconscious mind. It's going to shift your vibration. You'll get ideas. You'll attract things. I had this goal with the program I wanted to create with Bob, that I wanted to create a results tracking, an online results tracking program. And I'm on a flight to Los Angeles. I had no idea how to do anything like that. And I'm on this flight to Los Angeles, and there's a guy sitting next to me, and I didn't talk to him until maybe a half hour before landing. And then I just introduced myself, and I said, well, what do you do? And he says, well, I'm a consultant, and right now I'm working with Ken Blanchard. And I said, oh, well, what are you working on? An online results tracking program. I'm like, you gotta be kidding. So he gets his computer out, and he sticks his little USB thing in there, and he starts showing me. It's like a 68-page report on an online results tracking program. I mean, I couldn't make that up. What does it say? If you latch onto your heart's desire, you hold it with your will, you live in that place, it attracts to you all things requisite. Everything you need, it attracts to you. So you don't have to know now. And if you don't make a decision now, you're never going to know, right? Why not? You're not in harmony with it. You're not living from that place. Do you see how powerful this is? I get really passionate about this because it's changed so much in my life. You realize that since order is heaven's first law, and visualization places things in their natural order, it must be a heavenly thing to visualize. This is what we're supposed to do. Mick, with your book and your goals with the movie, do you do a lot of visioneering still? Yeah? Yeah, all the time? You live in that place? Can you see how it's a heavenly thing? Do you remember early on when you had your goal and you would think about it and you'd feel the chaotic energy? Your bowels turned to water, okay. Thanks for sharing. Well, moving on. No, but you were so scared. Yeah. Yeah. Even when you were visualizing. Well, and why is that, if you really think about it? Well, in the terror barrier. You're trying to mix the X and the Y energy. But if you move through that and you keep visualizing, you'll know if you're doing it right when you start to feel really good. Why? Because when we start doing this and we got the terror barrier, we're not really feeling it as real. What we're doing is we're feeling a combination of, this is what I want, this is where I am, how the heck am I going to get there? But when we really understand this, we know we're not trying to figure out how to get there. We're there. That's the key. We're there. We feel as we would when we're there. And that's when the ideas come to us. That's why it's a heavenly thing. This is our power. This is the creative power. This is how we work with the creative process. Does that make sense? Everyone visualizes, whether he knows it or not. Visualizing is the great secret of success. And if we look back on our lives and we think about things that happened in our life that went really well for us, we can trace it to visualizing. We can see that we visualized it beforehand. Everyone does this. The athletes use this all the time. I show horses and I'm often just imagining the ride. Like I tell my trainer, Allison, she said, oh, you're not going to be riding for 3 weeks. I said, that's okay. I'm going to be riding mentally. And you can actually have a better practice mentally than when you're on the horse, because when you're on the horse, you might have a mistake. But when you use your imagination and you really got control of it, everything's going beautifully. And you practice that over and over. Everyone visualizes. Now, here's the real powerful part. This is the promise. Everything that can happen when you do this effectively. The conscious use of this great power attracts to you multiplied resources. You look at Bob, he's going to be 85 this summer. How the heck does he keep going at this pace? Because he knows, he's got such a clear picture of where he's going and what he wants to accomplish. So he's got multiplied resources. He doesn't get tired. Intensifies your wisdom. All of a sudden you're like, how did I even know that? But you've got the picture on the screen of your mind. And what else? It enables you to take advantage or to make use of advantages which you formerly failed to recognize. So Mick, with your book and your movie, when you first came up with that, you didn't know how to do it. Mark, when you sit there and think about leaving the police force and creating this new business, you don't know how to do it now. But when you lock into that picture, you make use of advantages you formerly failed to recognize. It's all here right now, everything that you need. And when you do this, and you really exercise discipline, and you practice this over and over, and really live from this place, you'll be amazed what you can create. I love reading that letter from Bob from when we were in Canada, and he's selling thinking into results for the first time. Because it was just something in my imagination. But I would visualize it over and over. And then here, I'm sitting in an audience, and I'd visualize this moment when he's selling this for the first time. And I can still see him, and I'm sitting there, and I'm, just like proud as a mother just giving birth to a baby. And here the program's being sold. And when I wrote him back the next morning, and I said, Bob, for some strange reason, I have tears in my eyes. For the longest time, there was no physical evidence that my dream was manifesting. So often we say, but there's no proof. I've been working so hard at it, I can't see anything. It took years for this to manifest. Now, with the house, it took months. But then it took years. And I couldn't see any physical evidence. I'm like, is this even working? It's all happening. You just can't see it. And I said, I was willing to go against a strong current. I mean, you can bet there's going to be a strong current against you. If you're really stretching, everyone around you are going to tell you you're crazy. They don't want you to go out and fail. Your paradigm's going to tell you that. But you got to go against that current and have faith and know what it is that you're creating. And I said, and I was willing to change my thinking. How many times do we get so locked into our thinking? And, we don't even think, is this serving me? You got to be willing to change your thinking. Open up to some new ideas. And I said I was willing to change my thinking and do everything I could every day. You can't do it all in one day. You won't know how to do it all in one day. Do what you can and keep moving forward and see that picture. And then I said to him, and now it's just so good. But it doesn't happen by accident. You create it. And this exercise of visioneering is a tool that enables you to do it. Latch on to what you want. Deliberately picture it. Carefully examine that picture. Is this what you really, really want? And then trust the creative process. So the kitty cat can't turn into a lion, but you can create whatever you want for yourself and for your life. So I really encourage you to use this exercise, and you'll be amazed at the results you'll get.
All right. Such an incredible lesson on visioneering. Raj, now we have got to get busy and get through as many of these questions as we can in the next 30 minutes. Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
Good. And I have to say, I like your office. You reorganized or moved your desk around. Looks very nice.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we did a little bit of cleaning around and I got a new desk, so a little different look.
I love it. Looks very good. All right. First question I have for you. I have a big goal. I get stuck with my limiting beliefs. How can I jump through this?
Well, you got to make a decision first. Of course, anybody with a big goal, they're coming with their old belief. So don't worry about that. Just put that aside for a moment. And your whole life, my whole life, we've been telling ourselves something, whether it's accurate or not, because we see the world as we are. So what I want you to do is focus only on seeing yourself with that goal. And then ask yourself, why do I want that goal? If your why is bigger than your why not, you're going to keep persisting. Now, any goal that I've ever achieved, I've never known how to do it, but I know that's part of the process. So that is okay. I want you to realize that, and everyone to realize that is part of the process. If you already knew how to do it, then you'd already be doing it. Now, your belief is never going to be at your new goal. We have to grow that belief and really understand, as we've been talking about all week, that our wants come from the essence of who we are. They come from where our spiritual DNA is rooted, which is in the heart of hearts. That's your subconscious mind. And it gives a signal to your conscious mind, hey, pay attention to this. And remember, anything that you really want would not be there for you if you weren't being meant to fulfill it. Now, the trick here is sticking with it. Most people get their wants and they say, this isn't for me. And they let it go because they let their limiting belief, their old paradigm control them. What we want to do is understand that from the minute we set the goal, we make a definite decision. This is what I'm doing. And it's got to be definite. Now, you don't need to know how to do it, and tell yourself, I'm not sure how to do it. The how will show itself. Your spirit knows how to do it, and it will communicate to you as you're continuing to develop yourself.
So good. This next question, how can I help my spouse or my family create good paradigms?
Lead by example. Encourage them. Only see the good in them. See them not as they are, but as they can become. But the best way is nobody wants to be changed. Bob used to always tell me that. He'd tell you that, Mikey. People, it's not that they don't want to change. They don't want you to change them. So really lead by example. And as they see you growing, as they see you operating with a positive mental attitude, it's going to be contagious. That's the best way you could do it. Educate them by your behaviors.
I love that. How do I know that I have matched the frequency or vibration of my goal?
Because you're just going to be thinking from the goal. You're not going to try to think from the goal. You're not going to intend to think from the goal. It's already there. As soon as you wake up, all you're thinking about is the goal. All day long, you're thinking about how can I? You're going to spend that time in mental rehearsal and seeing yourself with that goal. And it is so effortless. You're not trying to see yourself. You just see yourself. It's so, you're in such flow. And here's the trick. We've got to relax and we've got to allow. If we're uptight, rigid, trying to force ourselves to see it, it's not going to happen. And just sit back and relax, get in this real calm state and only see from the end. And when you're in that state and you do the repetition of doing it, you're really going to get to where you want to go.
Yeah. What do you do to get emotionally involved with my goal?
Well, you have to feel it. That's what emotion is. And so you ask yourself, if I had achieved my goal, how would that feel before you even rehearse your goal or reaffirm your goal, or you see your goal with your eyes closed? You see it with your eyes open. So you want to really relax and already know that it's here. See, this is hard for us to understand. Creation happens twice, first in our mind, then in our results. Like, Mikey, I'm looking at the painting behind you. That first started in somebody's mind. It first started there, but we don't understand that because our whole life we've been taught live from our five senses. I'll believe it when I see it. It's the opposite. And that's why we have to go from the third dimensional world to the fifth dimensional. And that's where that's where energy is. What do we say all week? We said, I love Einstein's quote, everything is energy. Match the energy of what you want. So you're going to know that you're at that. You're going to know you're coming from that frequency, from the state of having it by living there.
Yeah. This next question, how can I let go of the past and focus only on the future?
Well, let me ask you something. Do you drive all day in reverse? And I know it sounds like, oh, of course I don't. Well, most people are living in reverse. They're so committed to their past. You want to be committed to a bright future. You create the future in your present. But you want to have this future that is so inspiring. And that's what's going to allow you to be persistent, to operate with a positive mental attitude, to have discipline. So the best way to release it is stop focusing on it. You just give yourself a command. We talked a lot, Mikey, about accepting ideas this week. You just accept the idea. The past has prepared us for this bright future. And I know this is hard because so many people are so committed to their past. They're so critical of themselves of, oh, I made that mistake, or I should have taken that jump, or I should have had more courage in this moment, or I should have been told them what I feel. Forget about it. What you do is from this day forward. That's all we have right now. Right now, my identity, your identity is created by the thinking and actions. That's why we say think, feel, and act. And as you do that, your past is so outdated. Like yesterday's outdated. Yesterday, we're never getting back. You want to learn from yesterday, but don't obsess about it.
Or as you mentioned, accepting the idea. We talk about how you don't just accept the idea and all done. You have to accept the idea and then your paradigm's going to come in, and you have to accept the idea again, and your paradigm's going to come in, and then you have to accept the idea again until you match the frequency.
Yeah, you accept it until you don't need to accept it anymore. That's really what it is. But when you make a definite decision, yesterday we talked a lot about decision. And I'm going to go over it again because it's so important. Decision mixed with discipline is an unstoppable force. I really want you to burn that in your mind. So when you make a decision that I am so happy and grateful now that I'm a PGI consultant earning $1 million or more, or I am whatever it is you want. You accept that it is already done. Now you focus on how can I get better? The paradigm comes in and say, nope, I am mastering accepting and rejecting. That is what they're teaching me at the Proctor Gallagher Institute. The paradigm will come in, then you re-accept. And every day is day one. Every day you say, this is what I'm doing. Every day you and I have to make a decision of what we're doing today. Every single day. So when you understand that, when the paradigm comes in, you just say, oh, that's interesting, and literally use those words. Bob taught me those words many years ago, and he says, whenever you see it, just say, that's interesting. So I'd say, that's interesting, so you don't give it power. Give power to your goal. We talked about it earlier this week. I said, when you focus, you put power into something. Put power into what you want. Put power into your goals. Put power into your new identity. Put power into what's possible. And nobody knows how far we could take this. Nobody. I can't tell you, Mikey, how far you can go. You can't tell you how far you could go. It's the unknown. We're going to go as far as our thinking takes us.
Yep. All right, up next, are there any books you would recommend that can help me continue this material after the event?
There's a lot of books. My favorite books are The Science of Getting Rich. I love Bob's book, You Were Born Rich. I love Think and Grow Rich. I love Psycho-Cybernetics, U Squared. Those are 5 books right there.
All right, up next, how do you protect your vibration or frequency from others?
Well, you've got to get really understanding that what others are doing has no bearing on you if you're in control of yourself. And so if somebody has a bad attitude, of course you don't want to be around them. You want to get away from them, right? So get away. Give yourself that. Don't allow to just feel like, oh, I have to stay in that. You don't. Just walk away or change the subject. So you protect your vibration by thinking as the person you want to become. Like, I don't stand around sitting with people who are negative. I can tell you on so many occasions, I would talk to Bob and he'd be like, I got another call, I got to go. And well, the first time I didn't think much of it. Then I go, I know what you're doing. And I said, like, it caused me a trigger to look at my attitude or look, was I focusing on what I didn't want? He would always get off the phone, but he'd be so kind about it. He'd be like, oh, I've got another call. So get out of the situation. That's how you protect yourself.
I love that. Bob did do that all the time. All right. How can I keep myself disciplined and accountable with my goals?
Number one, get an accountability partner. And accountability is a success insurance policy. You want to burn that in your mind. Bob taught me that. Earl Nightingale taught Bob that. Accountability is such a huge opportunity. Number two, you're going to be your best accountability partner as you gain discipline, as you raise your self-esteem. And discipline, remember, is just accepting and rejecting ideas. Only accept, make a decision, and only accept ideas that are in harmony. When you have a thought that is not in harmony, then you say no. The moment you catch yourself procrastinating, that is the opposite of doing it now. That's the opposite of decision. You've got to know and catch that with yourself. Say, I'm not going to achieve my goal if I keep procrastinating. That is the opposite. So you want to observe yourself and say, nope, I'm doing it now. And if you notice, I will give you guys a real big cheat code. If you notice, you say, I'm going to do this in a couple hours, your program's running you. You're not in control. That's not discipline. That is easy to do. And that's why we have to do it now. When you make a decision, do it now. When you procrastinate, catch yourself and do the opposite now. And really get really good at disciplining your thinking. And once you discipline your thinking, discipline's going to be effortless.
Yeah. All right, up next, when you have such an enormous vision and goal, where do you start?
You start with getting emotionally involved in your goal. Okay, it's only enormous because your thinking makes it so. Make it small. Already see yourself at the person you want to become. Already see yourself there. And write out every day. Now, this is going to be so easy to do, but it's so easy not to do. Write out the person you want to become. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am earning $100,000 or more every month, and I love it. I am getting better and better every day, more and more confident. Every day, in every way, I act on everything I promise to myself. I am attracting to myself effortless success. Everything I touch turns to gold. Just imagine you wrote that out, and you could change the verbiage. You write that out every day. Well, what are you doing? You're burning it in your mind. When we write, it burns. Writing creates thinking. Thinking creates feelings. Feelings create actions. Actions create results. So it's not these big things that you have to do to get started. You make a definite, irrevocable decision, and you hold yourself and say, how does that person behave? And get really emotionally involved with what you want. And if it is a real stretch goal that we teach, you're going to get uncomfortable. I want you to get emotionally involved with being uncomfortable, because now as you keep getting emotionally involved with being uncomfortable, that's going to be your new paradigm. Then you're going to get comfortable being uncomfortable. See, a lot of people shrink because their image isn't up to that. But the moment they stand up to their paradigm is the one that shrinks like a bully.
I love it. Do you start your day with a specific routine?
Yes, I change it quite frequently, every 90 days, every 4 months or so. But the non-negotiable for me is I wake up and I study. I have to study because, first of all, I've been taught that was one of the keys to creating success by Bob. So I wake up at 5 and I study. I exercise right away. I write I am statements. I am happy. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I meditate. Meditation allows me to really let go and see the invisible, see what I want. And that's what I'm doing right now. Gratitude is a part of it all the time. And here's one thing that I recommend. A lot of us take for granted this, and this is something I've been recently practicing. And I want you to hear my word. It's practice. Practice with discipline creates enormous results. But I practice this of feeling worthy, because I can't attract what I don't feel worthy of. So I look at my past and look at the things that I've created. So that allows me to feel worthy. Like, I have a beautiful family. I have a beautiful life. I want to feel worthy of that. See, if I already go back to the experience that I've had worthiness, then I'm going to bring worthiness in the future.
Yep. I love that. Bob says to make a decision quickly. I get stuck. Do you have any advice?
Well, you're letting the paradigm make the decision. That's the only thing. See, Bob used to tell me, make the decision quickly. I just did exactly what he told me to do. And that's the prerequisite to winning. You do what your mentor tells you because they have the experience, and success leaves clues. I'll tell you a story. Bob told me, I want you, when you get a hotel room, we traveled a lot and for business. And I was always in and out of hotels. And Bob said, I want you to stay in a suite. And it made no sense to me to stay in a suite just for one person. And he said, do you trust me? And I said, yes. So I started staying in a suite, and I resisted it, Mikey, like you wouldn't believe, because it made no logical sense. But I trusted him. So I started doing it. He said, I promise you, your income is about to go up, because you're going to be in that wealth in energy, that wealthy energy, and wealth knows no lack. So I did it. And then I haven't stopped since. But that was a decision that I was not comfortable with. It didn't make sense to me, but I trusted my mentor. And here's the key. In order for you to win, you guys have to do exactly what we teach you. I promise you, you will win if you get the right mentorship. If you will follow the direction, you will do it. That's what I've done. And if you go study anybody successful talking about their mentors, they will tell you the same thing.
I've heard a lot about auto-suggestion mentioned. Can you please explain it?
Auto-suggestion is a suggestion from yourself to yourself. That is repeating your goal over and over again and really feeling and seeing that goal. It's not just the repeating. You got to feel it. You've got to feel what you want. The feeling is the emotion. That's how you get emotionally involved. And here's the thing. People are auto-suggesting all the time. People are suggesting at us. And suggestion is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. That's how people get marketed to all day long. So you want to watch the suggestions that are coming to you from others, accept and reject. But you want to auto-suggest. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am earning $100,000 or more every month, and I love it. I am financially free, and it feels great. I am happy, I am healthy, and I am wealthy. It is done. Like, you auto-suggest that. Do that 5 minutes a day. I'm telling you, over a 3 months period, you're going to be in a different place. You're going to watch what will start happening in your belief.
Yep. What is the most important lesson that Bob has given you that made the biggest impact on your journey?
It changes all the time because it's where I was in my life at those times. I could tell you attitude was at the top of the list, where he told me I would come to him and I'd tell him I was stuck. That was when I was letting the outside control me. And he said, I'm going to tell you a lesson that one of my mentors taught me. And he said, when you are stuck, the best way to say it is the way he told me. He said, the true professionals in life have a much better attitude when things are hard. And he said, it's easy to have a good attitude when things are going well. And I went on a 2-year dive on studying attitude. That's when I realized everything I do is an attitude. And I also realized the difference between success and failure in achieving our goals is our attitude. Go look right now what your attitude is towards your goal. Go look. Have you accepted that idea? You'll know. Now you can develop it and grow that. Another lesson he taught me was discipline. When I first met him, he said, you're not going to be any more than you already are right now unless you increase your discipline. And that was another dive I took. And when Bob would give me these instructions, like, I didn't just take them as casual words. I wanted to master them. I really wanted to master them, because Bob used to tell me, he said, you are in much better shape than I was when I first studied this material. You've had a certain amount of confidence to you. He said, I had none. And if I can do it, you could do it. And that's when I just wanted to emulate his behaviors.
Thanks, Raj. This next question: what does a Proctor Gallagher consultant actually do?
They coach people. You know, they really coach, and they create their own business where they're in business for themselves, but not by themselves. And they have a program, Bob's Thinking into Results program, that's based off of 61 years of his teachings. That Sandy handcrafted herself, with really studying closely with Bob. And it's transformed millions of people's lives. The best part of it is, I always tell people, you are going to not be doing this by yourself. You have to do it. You have to do it yourself, but not by yourself. Meaning you have to do the work. It's not just we put a shot in you, then all of a sudden you're going to be successful. You have to build your image up. We teach you how to present the material. We teach you how to really build yourself into a successful coach. But you have something in your hand that you already know that works, because it's worked with millions of people. So all day long, you are focused on presenting, creating, and helping people transform their lives.
This is a great question. How do I become a Proctor Gallagher consultant? And I want you to talk about how the only way to become a consultant, to join Bob Proctor coaching program, 7-Figure Self-Image, any of our programs, is to talk to your success advisor. And if you could talk about what that call might look like, Raj, I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah, so you want to set up an appointment with your success advisor. Your success advisor is going to do a strategy session and really work with you and show you how we can help you get from where you are to where you want to go. And it's going to be a mini coaching call as well. They're going to identify what you're doing well, how to understand this better, how to get emotionally involved with what you want, and really create what you want. I always tell everybody, I know what we do works. Like, I know it does. And I know we can help you, but you have to allow us to help you. See, you can go look at the last 24 months and you could see how you got to where you want to go. And if you want to create a massive quantum leap, really learn how to live on that millionaire frequency, you have to make a decision with an open mind and an open heart to be willing to get help. Like, I will, for the rest of my life, invest in mentorship, because I know I have blind spots. No matter how far I'm at now compared to where I was, I can go much further. And the direction is so key. And whether you become a consultant with us, whether you work with us on our 7-Figure Self-Image program, whether you work within our Best of Bob, whatever, our year-long coaching, we have a formula based on Bob's success, Bob's studying for 61 years, and then previously to Bob's mentors. And so you're going to be in something that isn't just, this coaching didn't just get started. You have hundreds of years of literally hundreds of years of experience if you go down Bob's lineage.
Yeah. Raj, this next question, is mentoring available for someone going a different route instead of becoming a consultant? And what does that look like?
Yes, like I said, set up the call with your success advisor. We do all different types of mentoring. Mentorship is a cheat code of how to get from where you are to where you want to go. And I always say, go look and study the most successful people. You will watch their behaviors. One of the key behaviors of anyone that I've studied that has significant success is they're constantly investing in mentorship. They're constantly investing in books. They're constantly investing in masterminding. They're constantly investing in how they can get better. But we have all different types of mentorship for all different types of people. Now, if you want to create your own business and you're sitting there right now wondering, well, I've never created a business, let us help you because we know how to create it. And, mentorship in any area, mentors don't teach you what to think. They teach you how to think. Their whole purpose is bringing your potential out that is dying to come out of you. Now, you've got to be willing to do what the mentor tells you. Follow the direction. Do it for 6 months and watch. Do exactly what we tell you to do for 6 months and you'll be blown away.
Yeah. All right, this next question, how do I muster the courage to go after my dreams and tell my family?
Well, what's interesting? That's a great question. What's interesting is I've coached now well over 35,000 people in my career. And the one common denominator is people want to become more. I know they want to become more. They want freedom, whatever that means for them. But in order to do it, you have to have the courage. And you've got to get comfortable with yourself to tell your family exactly how you feel. Now, if you know that your family is going to be a dream stealer, be negative, then go do it for yourself first. And they're going to see you grow. Then you could tell them along the way. Really protect your goals. Protect them like you do your little babies or your children, or if you ever had children. Like, you've got to protect it because there's a lot of dream stealers out there, and there's been a lot of dreams stolen because of someone's environment. That's why Bob always talks environment is more important than heredity. And when we're achieving our goals, we've got to put ourselves in the right environment. If somebody wants to release weight, it's not great to be in an environment where their house is full of poor health choices that are easily available to them. Same thing with wealth. If you want to be on the millionaire frequency, you cannot think any thought of lack, or you can't have dream stealers in your corner. You want to have an inner circle that is with encouraging people. And I will tell you, whatever excuses you're making, be stronger than your excuses. Be much stronger than your excuses. Life is about overcoming adversity, and we've got to learn how to do hard better. It's not that we're not going to have adversity. It's not that things are going to be hard, but as we learn how to do hard better, we get stronger. And the stronger we get, the more significant our identity becomes, the more effortless your goals are going to become.
I love that. All right, I've got like 2 or 3 really good questions here, and then we'll hand it over to Monica. How do I hold a why idea that I want with a high vibration if I don't trust myself to do it?
Well, start auto-suggesting. That's how you're going to. So let me explain what a why idea is. So some people might not know. A why idea is an idea that is out of your comfort zone. It's opposite of your conditioning. So let's say somebody is earning $100,000 a year, want to get on that millionaire frequency, earn $100 a month. Well, that's a why idea. It's incongruent with their current paradigm. So what you want to do is you want to go to that frequency. We talked about that a lot this week. Go to that place and see yourself, relax, watch yourself behaving like the person who is earning $100 a month. Study the people. Auto-suggest, write out your goal 50 times a day. I know it's a pain in the butt to do it, but it has a lot of really strong things that is happening under the hood that you don't see. And that's how you're going to do it. It's the repetition of getting emotionally involved with what you want. Remind yourself what the creation process is. It's, what do I want? Get emotionally involved with what I want. Get out of my comfort zone and act as that person. Do the activities and then rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. Should I set a date for my goal?
Always set a date, because we got to give your subconscious and the universe direction. And you can always change the date. A lot of people get attached to the date. Like I've got a goal card in my pocket right now. I could feel it right now. I already know what's on the goal. I know what's on the date. And what is there, it triggers in my mind, but I never worry about the date. There's been times where I've been before the date. I've never been right on. Bob used to tell me there was one time that he hit it right on the date. I've never been right on. Most of the times I'm later than the date. So I just change the date. Don't get attached to the date, but put a date down.
Okay. Last question. How do I stay on the other side of fear when I break through that silly terror barrier?
Well, you got to develop faith. Faith comes with understanding. Understanding comes by mentorship and study. That's the only way you're going to do it. And we want to teach you applied faith. That's faith with confidence. And remind yourself what faith is. It's seeing the invisible. That's seeing what you want. You can't physically see it, but you see it with your eyes. You really see it only as you want to do. It's believing in the incredible. What's the incredible? That our spiritual DNA is absolutely perfect. That we have the universe that's here to serve us. And then you're going to see what the masses call impossible, which you call standard. And that's what you're going to have. That is your standard. But you have to have the courage to step up and step out. And every day is day one. I promise you, if you make every day day one and you are hungry and humble and your want is through the roof, the how is going to show itself, and the people are coming to your aid right now to help you.
Yep. Raj, as we end this week, I'd love to know just some of your final thoughts that you have. This is something that you worked really closely with Bob on years ago, is creating your own millionaire frequency, breaking through that 7-figure mark yourself, and then teaching others how to do that. What are your final thoughts on what everyone should take away from this week to make sure that they do just that?
You know, a million was such a foreign concept to me at the time when I met Bob. He asked me, and I'll never forget it, he goes, "What's the most you've earned in a year?" And I said, 110,000. He said, "I could show you how to do that in a bad month." And I started laughing. He said, "I don't know why what you think is so funny." He says, "You don't have to know how to do it." He says, "You just need to believe that I believe I can show you how." Right away, I didn't even know it at the time. I took his belief. And the millionaire frequency is based on getting better every day. That's what it is. It's allowing yourself to get out of your comfort zone. You can't stay in your comfort zone. You're not going to create something far greater than what you have unless you start really having a goal that inspires you and that really gets you to move. And here's the deal. A million, we can show you how to do it effortlessly. I don't want you to think it's going to be hard. It doesn't have to be easy or hard. It's just going to be as difficult or as easy as you make it. What's going to happen is your commitment to really doing things outside of your comfort zone and changing the paradigm. Most people, go look at your weeks. It's the routine. We want to get you out of routine because you can't keep thinking the same thoughts you've thought for the last 2 years and expect different results. That's what I had to do. I had to go to that place even though that I didn't know how. Understand your mind is a garden. It is growing, and it is growing based on what you're giving it inside. Now, we want our conscious mind to dictate our subconscious, not just letting the outside world dictate it. And as you do that and make a definite decision, years ago, I was at a seminar. I tell this story all the time, Mikey. I was at a seminar called Create Your Own Economy. And at the end of the seminar, it was a 2.5-day seminar. At the end of the seminar, Bob looked at the audience and he said, 3% of you are going to really make it happen and really create a life of freedom. 97% of you are not. You're going to look back. This was a great weekend. He said, I want you to make a definite decision that you're going to be one of the 3. And I remember sitting there and I said, I was really internalizing. I said, I'm going to be one of the 3. Now, I didn't believe it, but that's what I said to myself. And I want every one of you, I want us to look back and 100% of you are going to be part of that 3%, a part of that millionaire frequency. Now, is that possible? That'll be depending on you. Now, what I will tell you is if I can do it, anybody can do it. But you have to be willing to do what I was willing to do. I was willing to go to a place of the unknown, which was so uncomfortable that I had so much resistance, but I knew that there was a way. You have to know and believe in possibilities, and hope gives us options. Make an irrevocable decision. See yourself on that millionaire frequency. Don't give it away. Keep putting energy, grow your garden, and watch what unfolds.
Absolutely. That's the perfect way to end this segment. But I know we have to hand off to Monica now, who has, I believe, our last daily assignment. Raj, do you want to go ahead and hand it off to Monica?
All right, Monica, I'm going to turn it over to you. And I know you have some final thoughts for yourself. And this last assignment is going to be a great way to end this. And I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Arash. Wow, what an incredible Q&A session. You can see from every question that Arash answered, acting on ideas is going to be incredibly powerful for you. What did I say at the beginning of the week? You're going to have, and we're going to give you ideas. And some of these ideas are going to be really easy for you to implement. And some of these ideas are not going to be so easy because the paradigm is going to test you. And if you don't act on these ideas, they're going to stay stillborn. I remember Bob would say that all the time. Your ideas, when you don't act upon them, they're staying stillborn. You're planning to plan. And when you understand that the first thing you want to do is start working on your new ideas, what's going to happen to you is your image is going to increase immediately. You have all these little wins and opportunities throughout the day, during the week, that's going to create a better image for you. But if you start to procrastinate on these ideas and you wait for the paradigm, that paradigm will just get strengthened and your image is going to get weaker. We don't want that to happen. When it comes to using your ideas, the absolute best thing you can do is something right now. This week, the entire week, the 5 days, you have probably gotten some ideas by now that you want to act upon. You got to take those actions immediately. You want to remember what a quantum leap is. A quantum leap is a lot of small compounded action in a short period of time. Take massive action. It doesn't have to be these big action steps. It's small compounded action in a short period of time. Work on your ideas, no matter how uncomfortable it may feel. I think everyone, if you want to have a way to do this, this is something that I do. You may want to draw out your ideas on paper, write it down, share it with a friend. I share my ideas with Arash all the time. I share them with him because I want to see from his perspective, but share it with someone that's going to help you with your goals, that you trust and respect and admire. Look at your inspired ideas. Do anything you can do right now and see that your ideas are pursued, and don't merely put them on the bottom of the stack of to-do lists. That used to be me. And they would just be on this to-do list and they would never be at the top. Now I act on my ideas immediately. Do something with those ideas right now, and it's going to change your life. Today was all about becoming urgent with everything you do. If something needs to be done, do it right away. We went through the entire week, starting with day 1 with understanding paradigms. Remember, if you don't work on these ideas, that paradigm is going to come in and steal you from taking those action steps. This is why you can change where you are in an instant. And the paradigms are so essential to understand because it controls all areas of our lives. And we went into our wants. Like, what do you really want? Make it super crystal clear. Those goals that we came up with this week, they command all of your energy, your beautiful energy, but you must choose in and go all in. But be sure that you set a goal that really inspires you. This is really, really important. Not that someone else sets for you, but what you really want to accomplish. So deciding and being clear on what kind of life you want to live and say no to everything else that does not fit that. So I always say your head's going to figure out the how. Your head will figure out how to get there. However, your heart is far more important. Trust me on this. Your inner spirit will move you in the right direction when you trust the process. That's why the goals that we talked about this week, it's going to command you to use your higher mental faculties. It's going to demand you to tap into that other side of you. It requires you to think very differently. When you're in your current paradigm where you're set right now, that's not who you are. We want to take your imagination to that other place. And then we talked about self-image and attitude. This has played such a huge role in my journey. And it's something that if you want to be free, you're going to have to work on for the rest of your days, because this is ongoing growth and ongoing growth within your journey, working on your attitude and working on your self-image. Make that committed decision that you're not going to talk bad about yourself. I remember when I made this decision, I said, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm not going to talk bad about myself. I do this with my kids all the time. If I catch them, I say, no, if you knew how powerful your thoughts were, you would never think another negative thought ever again. Work on worthiness, you guys. Fall in love with your life how it is right now. Doesn't matter where your results are, but just fall in love. Be grateful. Look at the good in your life and feel worthy. You can also go into your past experiences when you felt so good about yourself, something that you accomplished that you're so proud of. Go into that memory and build up your worthiness from there. That means you must see in that invisible, right? See yourself as a person who you want to become. We know we have that genius inside of you. There's that other version inside of you and inside of me that can do so much better than what we're currently doing. Our job is to connect to that person, not be having a disconnect, being connected to that other version of us and bringing that out. And that's how we step up into our power. But this all comes down to really choosing in with effort. Choosing in with effort. You should write that down and circle it, highlight it. I am choosing in with extreme effort, showing up as your best self. Doesn't mean about you being perfect. It means about you having that intent. Your intent needs to be perfect. So we are those perfect spiritual beings, all knowing, all powerful. That's a pretty incredible idea. That's the real you. So you want to take your lid off of your mind and have that limitless attitude. And I always say winning is an investment. It's an investment in your time every single day to take that time to work on you. It's an investment in money. You have to invest in yourself constantly. I am as well. I remember when it wasn't easy for me to invest in myself. However, I knew my way was not working and I was tired of slowing down the process of this. So I wanted to really invest in the people who could help me win in such a big way. Make the decisions that empower your goals. Yesterday was all about decision making. You want to make those decisions that's going to empower your goals and separate you from your limitations, the insecurities. These things just don't happen accidentally. They happen when you make the decision to prioritize winning. So make that part of your priority list. I'm going to win today. And you remember, you win by winning things in a small way. So life, I always say, is a series of continuous decisions, small ones that lead up to the bigger ones, decisions that we make every day. So the power in having the choice on making that decision, you want to deeply understand that. I do see it as a superpower because that's what we have control over, making those decisions. That's in harmony with our goals. We're always in momentum of something, and that something is where your decisions we made lies. You want to remember that. So it's all in your hands. So you want to master that art of decision making, discipline, decision, and practice over and over again. That equals freedom. That equals millionaire frequency. The people who are on that frequency, they're practicing that every single day. So you want to lean in with your full heart. Stand up to that paradigm. Okay. When you are truly are thinking and acting like that person who you want to become, it's going to cause you to jolt into action. So that's why you want to get really inspired by your goal. It's going to override the paradigm. And all you have time to think about is your goal and the action that is going to require to you to make that happen. So this entire week, we talk so much about repetition of new ideas, repetition of new faith over and over again, repetition of your goal, writing that out, auto-suggesting it. I changed my entire life on the power of repetition. So I want you to constantly keep watching these replays until Monday at midnight. They're going to get taken down, but keep watching over and over again. I can assure you, you are not going to hear the same thing the second time. You're going to pick up something new because your awareness has changed. You're committed to your goal differently. So you're going to pick up an awareness of something that you want to work on that resonates with you. And you're going to take that takeaway away and start implementing it on your day. And then Arash went through all the options to work with us, to either become a consultant with us or be mentored by us. This is really important for you to connect with your success advisor. This is the only way to get the direction or enroll into one of our elite programs is through a success advisor. So make sure you connect to your success advisor and have a call, have a discovery call. We're going to give you direction, structure to help you speed up the process on your goal achieving. With the culture that and the environment that we have been created here at PGI, we are a team of winners. I say that so proud because it is so true. We help so many people daily to win, and it's going to be contagious. When you see that success is not a secret, it's a system. When you follow that system, you're going to win too. I can promise you that. So let's get down to the daily assignment for today. And today is all about urgency. I want you to become urgent with everything you do today. Urgency is going really fast in a calm manner. You're not frantic or chasing or forcing anything to happen because you have that knowingness, but you're taking the actions and you're creating a lot of urgency throughout the day. And anyone who has a really strong desire, they're going to be urgent with what they do. So what I would like everyone to do is we're going to send you an article that Bob Procter wrote on urgency. And this is so powerful. I want you to read this article 3 times today. That's the first step. The second step is to be urgent with everything you do today. Everything you do. You get an idea? Act on it right away. And then tag your success advisor with your biggest realizations that you've learned from the article, and also the urgent action steps that you're going to take today. Really put that out there. Hold yourself accountable to your success advisor. Urgency first starts within you, then it's going to be expressed throughout your results. So I have had so much fun this entire week. I was reflecting on it earlier this morning, and it has been so fun being here with all of you, looking and watching at everyone submit their work in. It's always so fulfilling for me and our entire team to watch. And we share these messages within our team as well. So for anyone who's going through and doing the work, and you're going to be set up to win in such a great way and create freedom for yourself, continue that progress. Have fun in this journey, getting the right environment, get the right mentorship to speed up your process so you can really live the life on your terms. And I would really like to thank all of you guys for attending. It was an incredible week. I know I can speak for our entire team. We had a blast. And I know a lot of you have moved your schedule around to make this week a priority. And some of you have had to watch the replay. But either way, I'm so glad you were able to join us. It's been so fun receiving all the messages, and I know we're going to get and continue to receive a ton of more messages from all of you guys achieving your goals. And again, one more time to remind you, the replays will be up until Monday, the 19th at midnight Eastern Standard Time. Keep watching those replays and really connect to your success advisor. We're here to help you.
Hello there and welcome. I'm Bob Proctor. 50 years ago when I started teaching this material, I really didn't want to be a public speaker. In fact, I was fairly shy, and especially on a stage. I really didn't know how to work one-on-one in a coaching fashion with people either. The whole coaching and consulting world was completely foreign to me. Now, I could have let my fear and ignorance stop me right there. In fact, even today, I still don't think of myself as a public speaker. I just had a tremendous desire to teach this material that had changed my life so dramatically for the better. I wanted everyone to know about it. So I found a way. Now, thankfully, I had several mentors step into my life to help me. Each and every one of them was paramount to my development.
But I have to say that when I went to work with Earl Nightingale and his business partner Lloyd Conant, I realized something that proved the game changer for me in my life's work.
Earl Nightingale and Lloyd Conant weren't just mentors. They were the system.
They had already developed the channels. They had already forged the way. I was able to move into their path, and through their open doors, I was able to connect with their connections,
create extended networks of my own, and absolutely catapult my own coaching business as a result.
I read a story once about a billionaire. He's still alive today, Philip Anschutz. Back in the 1980s, he began buying up small and large railroads. In all of his purchases, he made certain that the dirt on either side of the tracks was his as well. Essentially, he was buying up 6 feet of dirt to either side of railroad tracks that stitched their way right across the entirety of America, because he figured that eventually that respective 12 feet might pan out to be worth something. Come to find out, It was. He knew it was much more than dirt. Well, you know, several years ago, I spoke at an agronomist convention. We might say that these people study dirt or soil to increase the productivity of crops. An agronomist, however, takes offense to the use of the word dirt, because dirt is never just dirt, it's earth. And earth creates worlds. I'm sure there were many people who wondered why Philip Anschutz was buying up dirt. But you see, he knew the difference. He knew that he was buying earth. And in the 1990s, he used that earth to create an entirely new world. He began laying thousands of miles of technology cabling right along those tracks, just in time for the birth of the internet age. Suddenly, Philip Anschutz held the key to propelling our collective leap into a new technological age. He had the system. And it all started with him looking at a patch of earth on either side of those iron railroad tracks. You know, 50 years ago, I took a pen out of my pocket and I wrote that I would build a coaching consulting business that would be in every country in the world. I guess you could say I was looking at a lot of earth. And today you might be thinking of starting your own coaching and consulting business, but you're a little afraid. You feel a little ignorant. You might even feel terrified. It might be a great unknown for you, but you love the material and you know it changes people's lives. And you want to be in that. And you want to feel that. And know you provided the spark. I get that. I was there once myself. And that's why the Proctor Gallagher Institute has built the system for you. We've already dug the trenches. We've already laid the groundwork for you, not just in North America or Australia or Scotland somewhere, but in more than 125 countries around the world. We've created and honed and perfected every tool and material that you need to propel you into a profitable coaching business whose only limits are set by your imagination. All you have to decide is one thing. How big do you want it to grow? This is Bob Proctor, and I look forward to working with you.